Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. We got something a little bit different this time around. So basically we've pulled some of the kit figures, some of the standalone figures from our Korean War Month selection, and we're gonna go over them here with the designer Lando. Reason for that being because we haven't touched on Korea for quite a while, and it's nice to have like an actual lineup. And this isn't necessarily everything, but we wanted to be able to break down some of these figures in more depth because we've been changing up the way we've done some of the sit rep stuff. So you actually haven't had a chance to go through and talk about this new lineup. So we're going to do that here today. Where do you think we should start?
Where should we start? Let's start with the Marine. I will say it's especially nice just kind of seeing everything all together at once.
Absolutely.
Like the more different pieces you kind of pick up together, I think the more these build, and it creates this kind of cohesive look to everything, because you can't really boil it down to one figure usually. So it is nice seeing these guys all together, even though they're a little bit different all over the place. Yes, so starting out with the Korean War Marine. This is kind of the iconic, I think this is the iconic look of the Korean War. It's like you have these frozen Marines, just like miserable, and just obviously they're just freezing to death, right?
Which you definitely captured in the face artwork.
Just like,
I literally picked up that figure and went, this person looks like they're having the worst day of their life.
If you go through all those source photos, and that's like, I'll be designing a minifigure face, and like a little bit of time goes by, I've just been frowning at my screen for like the past like half hour. Like,
I love the action shot for that figure in particular because like the setting just matches the dismay on their face so perfectly.
So chosen reservoir, brutal cold weather, retreating. It's just like an awful situation. So try to capture that. Going into the equipment and gear itself, the helmet it's a unique for this era. It's got that EGA stamp right on the front of that helmet. I think it's a really eye-catching piece. You wouldn't see it on every single Marine, but it is cool seeing them take that beach camo. It's the other side. It's like a reversible helmet cover. The other side is like a frog skin camo pattern, but it was reversible, and you'd see the Marines wearing that. Again, a whole wide variety of equipment for this war. I mean, any war really, but this is one piece there. The jacket is it's not the Navy jacket that is very similar to that era.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of like, not debate, but it's a more obscure piece of equipment. So this is a Marine-specific parka that he's wearing, issued for a very limited time. It's got like some unique pockets, a unique cut to it compared to the Navy version or the Army version even. Longer than the Army version, but another very specific but kind of obscure piece of equipment. But it did see a lot of use by the Marines, specifically during the Korean War.
Okay.
So it's a cool jacket. It's like alpaca fur lined, pretty warm.
I love how you can see that kind of popping out there at the top.
Yeah, a little bit on the collar. I tried to simulate that. I actually went and picked up like a reproduction one for this, like in real life, just because I thought it was a pretty cool jacket. So,
somebody's out there like, I thought it was chest hair. What?
Oh, what? And he's got moving on. Disregarding your chest hair comment, whatnot. Moving on, the bandolier right there. So it's you'd see them using bandolier pouches from World War II. A lot of carryover equipment.
Absolutely.
The Garand is no exception there. The M1 and perfect caliber treatment on that. That comes with the figure, right?
Nope.
No,
they're all standalones. But we've had a whole bunch of them in stock, which is awesome.
Yes. So we try to keep the Garand in stock whenever we can.
It's like whenever we include the perfect caliber with the minifigure, they're like, why do you guys do that? Give us the option. And then whenever we don't include the perfect caliber with it, they're like, come on, just include it so I don't have to buy two separate things.
Right. At least this makes it
Get on
easier
the same
for everyone.
page, people.
When we do include it, I think it makes it a little easier for everyone
I agree.
to, we don't have to time the releases as much. And it's just like, are you really disappointed by a cool gun? So the Garand, we already had that standalone, so we opted just, we keep that thing, we keep it in stock as much as we can. What's next? So rifle pouches, and that is in a darker shade compared to, I think it was, it's a little bit of a darker shade than you would see during World War II. The later in World War II you get, the darker the equipment gets. And Korean War, so you'd see a little bit of World War II lighter stuff, but mostly the darker World War II era stuff.
What's the reason for that? Just different? Was there an actual change? Is it just different companies? Or, okay, they just were like, we got to darken this thing up.
In World War II, they started off with olive drab number 3, may be wrong on that. And then he switched to OD number 7. It's just like you glance
Chanel
at it,
number
it's
5.
green or tan. Mm-hmm. And like some historians will call it khaki as a catch-all term, but then that just gets really confusing.
Sure, because
I don't
what
know.
is khaki?
Color is just completely made up. Like it's just like it's all just like this. We were talking to our print calibration tech guy, and he's just like, oh, it's just like this tunnel of like calibrating colors that are super specific, and then you're getting in different lights. I don't know. It's just
Well, I mean, think about a color wheel when you look at like the generic colors that you just pick green, but then you go into that green and beyond. So I can understand how that's something where it's like, what are you capturing?
It's a crazy. Trying to get the specific color is is a nightmare, and it just means like it's just green, dude. You know, I don't know. It's green.
Do you overthink things?
Yep. Yep. On the back, you have the frog skin. I think it's a poncho, and that or bedroll of some sort around the back of his pack, and that's that frog skin color, which is sort of the underside of this helmet cover. So you get to see both. That's a marine sort of specific camouflage there.
Which between that, the helmet, and the alpaca fur is a really cool way to integrate color into what otherwise would have been pretty much a single tone figure.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite pieces of the Korean War era would be those shoe packs. So it's like hunter boots. You know, it's like a leather upper with a rubber lower boot. You've probably seen them you've seen them in your grandpa's garage. You know, it's just the boot. Everybody in the Korean War just looks like they just got back from duck hunting. like all the equipment. There's like vests and like caps with like it's like Elmer Fudd. You know, man. It's just the gear is just like there's sweaters that are buttoned up and
oh boy,
it's an interesting combo for all over the board. And then last but not least would be that hood over his head. So I opted to just do like an olive head. Never done something quite like this before.
Sure.
But I think that the illusion carries over that he's got his hood on underneath of his helmet, which you can see quite a bit. That's this guy, a little bit in depth on him, but...
I think we can go in depth on all these, man. The
right.
Korean War fans out there haven't had a video like this
Sure.
since I've even been here, so that's cool.
Korean War Army Rifleman. This is actually a lot of similar equipment from our World War II. This might actually fit in late World War II as well. Some of that gear is like one for one. So this is the M43 boots, and it's like those buckle boots. And then the uniform underneath is also, this is all World War II gear. So this guy would function as super late World War II. I'm not positive of the glasses, so that's an interesting note. I don't know when that kind of frame of glasses came into existence, but this guy, his face is actually based on MN Art Girl's grandpa, like just like a one-for-one based on him. So it's cool that this is like he was in the Korean War.
He was in Korea, right?
Yeah, so it is cool seeing like this is like a real person. So Amanda jumped in and made that face. She came up with a new suspender pattern, a little bit of an update on that, and then compose the rest of it to make this really awesome Korean War rifleman. More of like a summer, spring, fall loadout compared to the
up in the mountains. Yeah. Right.
So this would be maybe on base or whatever.
Yeah, and I suppose that's going to
be
It's an interesting thing to look at there, though, because that is very specific to Chosen. I mean, if you're buying a bunch of those Marines, you're pretty much going to do that mock.
Right.
Whereas if you wanted to just do a more generic Korean War mock, that's kind of where you're going for there. That's cool.
Yeah. And again, it's like there's no one soldier that's specific, and there's no battle. That all the gear just changes constantly. It's crazy. Got the M1 as well with that standalone.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. The rifle comes separately on this one. This guy, the rifle does come with it, and that's kind of so this is
it's revolutionary.
What's the whole name of this? So this is like a Chinese.
Well, I was going to say the brick arm itself is the first time the Brickmania perfect caliber treatment has ever mixed with Will from Brick Arms reloaded overmolded, which has created something that is. I mean, you may have seen on some of the other ones, depending on the base brick arm color. Yeah. There's some seams there, two-sided print, three-sided print, what have you. This is perfect.
Yeah, it's a nice seamless look to it. It's kind of unprecedented here.
And it's Korean War Chinese infantry with perfect caliber, reloaded, overmolded Papa Shah with stick mag.
With stick mag. PPSA 40 with stick mag.
I don't even know if the 40's on there. Who knows?
Why
does he have a drum mag
if
he's got a stick in his...
several answers is, would you rather have a really heavy drum mag on your gun or have that as your backup to your stick mag? That's my retcon answer right there. No, actually, I wanted to make the stick mag because we hadn't produced this perfect caliber yet. I like the drum mag pouch better than, and I don't even know what stick mag pouch they actually used, if they had a specific one. The fact that he has ammunition at all is probably more of a historical. I mean, I'm not even going to call this a historical
That's more
inaccuracy,
incredible, yeah, right.
because you would see this combination. Like they would use whatever ammo they had, whatever combinations. You would see both a drum mag and a stick mag on the same person. So it's not at all historically inaccurate.
Right.
It's just not like super uniform like we imagine some armies to be, which they are not.
Well, and yeah, the People's Volunteer Army at the time, it's like you were saying, one would be lucky to have ammunition in general, and two, they're definitely not all going to look the same.
Right. At a glance, this is very similar to a Soviet, like Russian, late World War II uniform. Very similar at a glance. I would say it would function fine in a Soviet diorama as well. It's a lot of the same equipment, but there are some very specific things here that does make this specifically Chinese or North Korean. You'd have a lot of overlap with gear. So starting at the base is the I'm going to slaughter this, Greca. It is a like padded parka and trouser combo, and incredibly warm. Like this thing was like very, very warm, very, very simple to make, very effective for what it was. It was like it's a quilted winter wear. So pretty very harsh conditions in the Soviet Union, and it's just like you had to have. This is a very functional.
It's like
piece
a
of equipment.
snowmobile suit.
Yeah, totally a snowmobile suit. The boots are what I would say seem to set it apart from Russian stuff. That, from what I could tell, those are Chinese made winter boots.
Sure.
I don't know if Russians had a similar equivalent. There's a lot of kind of like exchange. Back to that winter suit, the Chinese also had a slightly different cut. That was the seam was more offset to one side, so the whole front would kind of cover the front end or front of the torso. I don't know the reasoning for that. I know for like on motorcycle gear they do that for like wind.
Yeah,
so
right.
Maybe there's something about that.
Doesn't split the seam.
Right. The drum mag pouch in the front, a little bit of a revamp on that one in our kind of latest style. I'm happy with how that turned out. If you go around to the back, you have the Chinese grenade like bandolier, so you get like those stick
That's
grenades.
what that is.
Yeah,
I was speculating on the sit
Yeah,
rep. I was like, he'll tell us, guys. Don't worry.
It's stick grenades. It's Chinese stick grenades, similar to kind of how there's German stick grenades, but these are a bit smaller, a little shorter. Then you have a captured Japanese canteen. So there was a lot of fighting between just in that area, Korea, like with Japan, China, everyone just fighting. So there's lots of captured Japanese gear during the Korean War.
That would make sense.
Yeah, a lot of captured gear. So no exception here. You'd see these guys using Arisaka rifles and all sorts of different stuff. So what else? Did I forget anything?
I think that does it for the standalones.
The star in the front. Nice little printed star. That's a new detail. Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've had that accessory on an actual figure. I mean, like forever.
And then rounding this off for the kits.
Yeah. So this is our Easy 8 tanker.
Easy 8 tanker.
And then our T-34 tanker.
Again, this guy would work. Would work.
You get the arms like this. Yeah, do your run. Yeah. Oh God.
This is Nate's kit.
This is tanker
Tanker
Naturo.
Nate sent me this face. He's like, "Hey, you should use this face." I'm like, "Why this face, Nate?"
Because I drew it.
Because he made it. Maybe Nate jumped in and did some guest artwork by the tank designer. So
Well,
whether or not it's him, I don't know. I'll leave that for him to tell.
He can decide.
You put yourself in this tank, Nate? Nate? What are you doing? I'm just teasing.
It is his favorite tank
It
ever.
is his favorite tank. I'll let him have that. This figure, he requested it be kind of a universal. It would work both in late World War II and Korean, like through the Korean War as well. So all that gear, that's that 43 equipment as well. You have the pistol holster, and I love that new helmet.
Gosh, it just adds
great.
so much. It's crazy.
It's great. Great helmet. Yeah, that's that guy. He's cool. Then we have what's the official name of this kit?
Just Russian T-34. Well, I suppose it'd be the Korean War T-34.
Korean War T-34. So again, they were using a lot of Soviet equipment, hence, you know, that.
The whole ass tank.
the helmet, or this soft cap, and this tanker uniform is no exception there. So it's a very, I think this would also work, let me double check. This would also work in a World War II context as well. All that gear and that pose again. It's just the most effective pose.
I hear you. You're
Not
showing
only
off
for
the sides.
showing off the sides, but also for increased aerodynamic when you're running. You can't be slowed down by your arms.
Those guys are getting way out of Area 51.
Oh my goodness. We're still doing that, right?
Yeah, I'll meet you there.
'Kay.
Right after the Jeff fight.
Oh no. Yeah. Some intense eyebrows on that guy.
I like some unique face artwork mixed in there, though. You know, especially if you're doing a tanker where you're going to see him popping up out of the tank. It's,
why
you know,
not?
might as well have a scowl or something going on there.
And then that helmet, beautiful, made in-house. It's got a nice finish on that. Designed and manufactured in-house.
Yeah, those custom elements. I mean, you can see literally just kind of the transfer in arrows right there between brick arms and then what we've been able to do with that really, really specific headgear. It's just, it's really, really incredible. Some very talented people producing those products.
Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
There's a few more figures that are part of this collection as well.
Yeah, we can circle back. Don't think that we'll
So-
be done. It's kind of like what we were saying at the beginning. We know we haven't visited the Korean War month in a while, and so it will produce as much content as we can surrounding that. I know we want to have Nate in here to go over some of this stuff as well, so we'll be sure to do that. But we figured we'd kick things off by taking a little closer look at the minifigures. So thanks for doing that with us, Lynn.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
All right, well that'll do it for the video. Thank you very much for watching.